In this podcast episode, Chris Bailey explores the complex nature of goal attainment, intentionality, and procrastination. Drawing on extensive research, personal experience, and conversations with Buddhist monks, he unpacks why some goals feel effortless while others feel like a chore. The discussion covers the role of values, the intention hierarchy, the pitfalls of common productivity methods like SMART goals, and practical strategies for overcoming procrastination and designing more meaningful intentions. Chris begins by reflecting on his own experiences, where despite daily productivity, some goals, like unused exercise equipment, remain incomplete. This personal observation mirrors a universal phenomenon. Everyone harbors a graveyard of forgotten goals. The episode delves into what differentiates goals that we effortlessly follow through with from those we neglect. He emphasizes that goal attainment is influenced by a complex web of factors, including procrastination, values alignment, desire, and social contagion. These elements interplay to create either motivation or resistance toward our intentions. Bailey highlights that values often seem abstract, but are actually grounded in rigorous scientific research pioneered by scholars like Shalom Schwartz. There are 12 fundamental human motivations, ranging from self-direction, achievement, and pleasure to conformity, tradition, humility, and universalism that shape individual values. Each person has a unique combination of these values, which fundamentally influence what motivates them. For example, Bailey's highest values are self-direction and pleasure, which inform both his goals and how he approaches them. These values are distinct from goals but closely linked, as values represent the person we intend to be over time, while goals are intentions about what we plan to do. Bailey introduces the concept of the intention stack, a hierarchical framework where present intentions, daily to-dos, fit within broader plans, which fit within goals, which in turn nest under priorities and core values. This structure resembles a funnel or pyramid where time horizon and scope broaden as you move up. When goals are aligned with deep-seated values, they generate more motivation and feel effortless. Conversely, misaligned goals, like striving for a certain appearance purely based on external validation, often lack emotional resonance and stall progress. The episode also touches on how values differ by gender and culture. For instance, fitness goals can be motivated by pleasure or security depending on these variables. A pivotal insight Bailey shares is viewing goals not as fixed destinations, but as predictions about where current and planned actions will lead. This reframing helps manage expectations and avoid disappointment, especially given our poor ability to accurately predict the future. Many people form rigid attachments to their goals, which makes inevitable obstacles feel like failures. Instead, Bailey suggests holding goals loosely, revisiting, editing, or even dropping them as circumstances evolve. This flexible approach can improve follow-through and align better with changing intentions. Intentions exist on a spectrum from default, habitual, autopilot behaviors to deliberate, conscious, reflective decisions. Default intentions often arise from social environments, biological needs, and ingrained habits. Deliberate intentions require tapping into our self-reflective capacity, moments of awakening where we consciously choose new directions. Bailey explains the importance of creating space in daily life for these reflective moments, often occurring during periods of loose mental focus or in small gaps between activities. Balancing structure and serendipity allows us to cultivate more intentional behaviors rather than merely responding to external circumstances. Bailey challenges the widespread endorsement of SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time-bound, revealing that academic research questions their effectiveness. He explains that realistic goals, while intuitively sensible, often limit potential. Challenging goals drive higher achievement. Moreover, SMART criteria contain redundancies and originated from a non-academic management article rather than rigorous scientific study. He anticipates controversy for questioning this productivity dogma, but encourages readers to seek goal-setting methods that better align with personal motivation and values rather than formulaic checklists. Procrastination emerges as a major barrier to goal attainment and is driven primarily by aversion rather than logic. Tasks that are boring, frustrating, unpleasant, distant in time, unstructured, or misaligned with values tend to trigger procrastination. Of these, lack of structure is often the easiest to address. Adding clear frameworks or delegation can reduce resistance dramatically. Bailey recommends aversion journaling as a practical tool to identify and mitigate the specific emotional triggers underlying resistance. He also promotes strategies like habit stacking, gamifying unpleasant tasks with rewards, and using digital blockers, e.g., freedom or cold turkey, to eliminate distractions and create no-choice scenarios that force action. Not all goals are fun or intrinsically motivating. Some are fundamentally ugly but necessary, such as lowering cholesterol. Bailey encourages honest self-assessment to determine whether an aversive goal is worth pursuing or should be dropped. He also highlights the social performance aspect of goals, where people adopt popular or externally approved ambitions that lack personal meaning, cosplays of ambition. Awareness of this dynamic can help individuals align goals more authentically with their values and avoid guilt or resentment. To deepen connection with goals, Bailey emphasizes aligning them with core values and surrounding oneself with supportive social environments. Positive social contagion. Joining groups, meeting peers invested in similar goals, can profoundly reinforce motivation. He contrasts this with extreme productivity ideologies that recommend cutting out unsupportive people entirely, acknowledging life's complexity and the importance of maintaining meaningful relationships even if they conflict with goals. Human connection remains fundamental to sustained intentionality. Becoming more intentional is a skill that can be developed through practice. Bailey advocates starting with the rule of 3. Each day, identify the 3 main accomplishments desired by day's end. This prioritization encourages focus and accountability. Weekly intentions can be set similarly and connected back to broader goals and values, creating coherence across multiple time horizons. Shrinking the resistance to tasks by breaking them into smaller increments and reframing goals so they reflect underlying values, e.g., mentoring new employees instead of writing an employee handbook, enhances follow-through. Bailey shares a subtle but profound insight that values themselves are shaped by our default intentions, our habitual actions, and the motivations behind them. These defaults form the scaffolding of who we are and what we care about. Rather than merely battling or judging our habitual impulses, we should marvel at their role in constructing identity and consider how deliberate intentions can be layered to evolve and redirect them. This appreciative perspective encourages curiosity and compassion toward oneself as part of the journey to more effective intentionality. Chris Bailey invites listeners to explore his book Intentional: How to Finish What You Start, available in audio and print formats. He also directs people to his website, chrisbailey.com, for newsletters and additional resources related to productivity, intentional living, and achieving meaningful goals.